everyone to tonight's tournament. It is the $300 minimum 3v3 search and destroy only, taking place here on January 7th. We're taking things off here in round number 1 between the guys on DAS, aka DAS. I'm just going to call them DAS, to be honest with you. These are pretty long team name. And PT. DAS consisting of Noob, Scoliosis, and Embodied. And PT will be taking place, or having the roster of Intex, Tarzan, and Trenzy. So pretty much very curious to see how map number 1 does obviously play out, because when we talk about search and destroy, playing 3v3s, obviously much different than it comes down to regular competitive, which of course is the 4v4 games type as far as players and whatnot. And obviously makes in search and destroy the lives much more important. First bloods are more crucial than ever, and the second ones are potentially game-breaking, as Noobs will end up dropping here. Scoliosis quickly finding himself in a 1 versus 3. And we'll see what he can try to pull off here. Of course, his team going to be currently on defense. I say his team. It's basically just him now. But trying to retake over at the B-bomb site, not able to make it work. And one thing that I really want to be focusing on as the tournament does kind of progress is the offense execution for this tournament. Because I feel like in 3v3 search and destroy tournaments, based off my history of only casting 1 up to this point, but I really learned a lot when we kind of cast that one. I think it might have been with myself and Jen, a.k.a. Lemon Kiwi. We were kind of casting that tournament. And I realized the importance of obviously getting the first blood, but I realized how much of an advantage I feel like the defensive team has in 3 versus 3s, just because the fact that really offensive teams rely, or offensive sides really rely on those first bloods. They rely on picks. So I feel like it's very, very important, especially with that kind of man count diminished, to really have solid offensive execution. And when it comes down to St. Marie du Mans, it's really kind of all about getting in that B-bomb site. Of course, this is going to be an off-site attack for the guys on DAS, as they're having a pretty big problem at the moment, finding themselves already down 0-1 and bodied. Yet to find a kill. His entire team has actually yet to find a kill. Tarzan already finding 3 in total. And if Bodied wants to at least get a round on the board, it's going to involve him getting a 1 versus 3, catching off 1 toward that backside desk, and does shut down Intex. So a little bit of a positive out of this round, and when it kind of comes down to the future of this game, could be playing for streaks. Obviously very, very unlikely at this point, of course, over 500+ points away from that first fighter pilot. However, though, does pick up the bar inside of top red and still has the opportunity to maybe shut down 2 players, as looks like he's firing down. Doesn't take anyone out through mid-lookout post. And at this point, if you are Trenzy and Tarzan, you got to be pretty careful, because, I mean, at different times, if we saw a certain challenge come in for Bodied, if you got some, decent shots into someone, this could be a clutching situation around. So regardless, it obviously doesn't go the way in that situation, of course, for that squad. But Tarzan and co. still playing pretty solid here for PT. They kind of lock things down, and they've really been relying off those first bloods. Of course, finding the first 2, and the rounds coming along with it, is now we'll get to see the guys from PT back on offense, as it was pretty much easy calling for them. And we'll see if they can maybe try to get back toward that B-bomb site, one that traded them very, very well in the last round. It looks like it will be Intex yet again grabbing the bomb, but it looks like making their way toward A. You see Tarzan maybe, yeah, I was going to say probably tossing a nade out just to try and bait the enemy on thinking that a B push was happening. And it seems to work out very well. Along with finding that kill, Tarzan very close to streaks, finding a second one potentially here on Scoliosis, but not able to make it happen. Trenzy is here for the quick headshot there. Nice solid shot coming in there from him. Only a bullet needed. But it does work out, as Noobs now all alone. But I really want to talk about the importance of Tarzan in this round, just because of the fact that we see him toss out that nade for B. He really had no intention of making his way toward B. His entire portion of this round was simply just to try to bait out the enemy, trying to make them think that a push is happening, when in reality they were actually forcing a lot toward that A-bomb site. And he ends up finding a kill along with it. And Granite drops for the first time in this game, does Tarzan, but still has Trenzy, who's still on a streak, 3-0. And they could be getting the bomb down here very shortly. As Noobs, if it were just around this corner, you see the level of detail between his potential knowledge of that bomb being planted or not. Trying to find the shot onto Intex, but it's not going to go through. As 3 rounds up and 3 rounds down, DAS, a.k.a. DAS, yet to put one up, yet to chalk one up, rather. And it's really just been, like I said, a matter of the first bloods, a matter of finding those first kills. Is they are 3 for 3. Not just in round count, but in first bloods, and that's obviously the reason why they find themselves in the lead currently As along with that last kill, we can obviously see the streak progression here for Trenzy. We could obviously be talking about Tarzan, but he obviously died in that last round. But now looking here at PT, of course, the squad, or sorry, now looking at DAS rather. The squad who's obviously down at the moment. Now on offense, looks like they're making their way toward this B side. And I actually want to take a little bit of an overhead point of view. You see the nades kind of being shot out. Tarzan from above does get taken out inside of top red. And Tex is there for the challenge, but does get overall traded in the end. And now Trenzy on the flank, 1 versus 1. Keeping in mind, the streak progression, he, just like his teammate Tarzan, was in this exact same spot 4 kills in a row. However, died shortly off those streaks. We'll see how Trenzy can fare. And speaking of 4s, he's trying to get toward his 4th round. And trying to keep the guys on DAS down. As honestly, he could really go for this. He could easily get the defuse right now. But obviously a lot easier for us and Concast to be able to tell that tale up close and personal fight. Trenzy going for the shots. I like the positioning here from Skiliosis, just trying to dolphin dive away, trying to stay up. As he should be good. We see Trenzy going for the sneak defuse, and this is a great strategy to try to do this position. But Skiliosis rounding the corner. Can Trenzy get it in time? Trying to go for it, and I believe... Does he grab it there? I think he does. Yes, he actually gets the defuse. And what a play coming in there. That's so unfortunate. Trenzy, what a smart play. And you think about it, along with the defuse that he grabs, I believe... Oh, no, he ends up dying. So I guess no streak progression. I think he might have been like a few points off of that. Maybe 100 points in total. So Granite obviously dies just after getting the defuse, but still, props to this man. And that 1 versus 1, I mean, Skiliosis is thinking, hey, this guy, he realizes that he's not going to win this round. I could be checking in any moment, but he doesn't. And that's just Trenzy realizing the situation at hand. It's kind of a desperate call where both players are kind of realizing the situation at hand. And Trenzy's like, you know what? Maybe he just doesn't check. Maybe he waits till around 7.5 seconds, which is exactly what happens. And maybe half a second away from putting the first round on the board was the guys from DAS or DAS. But they can't get it done. As looking on here, looks like finding the first pick on Skiliosis yet again, the man who's been hot in this game. Definitely the most known player for the side of DAS that I'm personally aware of. I know of Noobs, I've heard of him, and I think I might have heard of Bodied, but most familiar with Skiliosis and whatnot. But he ends up dropping for that first blood yet again, as every single round, except for one, has gone their way in the first blood department. As they obviously realize the situation over at B. Like I said, find the first kill, rotate now onto A. And with that successful plant, it's not going to put Body to Noobs in a very awkward position because granted, one guy would really prefer to be in red. If he had other 2 teammates, you can kind of pinch, maybe even try to have a group position together, try to 2-hit a certain side, either from Winery or in the back parking lot spawn. And Body rounds the corner, doesn't actually find the kill, does a full 360, and I believe in that situation, Tarzan ends up taking out his teammates. We find ourselves in a 1 versus 1. Noobs is able to find it, and what an unorthodox situation where the first round actually goes the way of DAS. And like I said, it has to go that way, apparently, for them to finally chalk one up on the board, but still a very awkward moment that we witnessed in that round, because I don't remember who it was exactly, but it kind of does a full 360. A team kill comes in for PT. Rather unfortunate. But it looked as, honestly, they should really be up 5-0 at this point. I mean, if the team kill doesn't come in, this is 5-0, and PT are feeling even more confident than they probably are currently. But maybe that last stroke of luck could propel them back into this game, and this round is going to tell the tale of that. And it's Trenzy getting back to business, finding one, but Skillius is coming from the side, tags up one, and doesn't realize the position. They're literally running right past each other. Thankfully, the teammate support comes in from Tarzan, as he'll now add his 5th kill in this map. Noobs rounding the corner, sees Trex in front of him, or Trenzy rather, sorry, and isn't able to make that one work either. As a solid teamwork coming in for both Tarzan and Intex, as they find the final 2. As Tarzan was able to kind of support his teammate Intex throughout that round, and Intex is obviously there for the finish through that mid-street. As like I said, the game has really been revolving. I know I'm going to say this countless times until something changes. Been relying on first bloods. PT, they've got 5 out of the 6. Skillios is the only player who's found a first blood so far in this map for DAS. And they're going to need more if they want to make this huge comeback, which is very unlikely. 5 rounds to 1. And Trenzy yet again adding another first blood medal. But Tarzan is there for the pickup, as that's Tarzan's fourth first blood in this game. As Intex coming from the side actually just misses the line set of noobs. Coming from that side lookout post through arches does take out one. So 2v2, bomb in the hands of Trenzy as Tarzan from above is trying to do some work, trying to clear something up, maybe trying to make a little bit of a lane. As one player just below is going to be Scoliosis, making his presence at least somewhat felt when it comes to the top red. Now entering through the bottom, this is a huge moment for Scoliosis. Realizing the time in hand, but Tarzan coming from the skies ends up dropping him. And now it's left up to this man Noobs. 1 versus 2. Okay, maybe even here, Tarzan right around the corner. I think Tarzan does have Mountain on, but Noobs is there for the drop shot, taking him down. And I like this position from Noobs. Like I said, realizes the situation, obviously one shot, and now needs to try and engage from 1 of 3 different scenarios. You can obviously challenge here from parking lot side through top red, or through the other positioning, but it's not going to happen. 3 different positions. Trenzy looking at both of them, as he does get the great timing there on to Noobs, as this one is done pretty quickly. And like I said, in 3 versus 3s, you can kind of see more scattered results. Some things that aren't necessarily super surprising. I mean, closer games is usually what's expected when you're kind of already in a 3 versus 3. A lot of the times, the defensive team has a huge advantage when it comes down to most things, but only 7 rounds of play actually are done here. As a PT, take care of business pretty quick. Of course, we see there Trenzy finishing up 8-2, Tarzan 7-4, and Intex 4-4 there in the end. Scoliosis for the opposite side, of course, finishes off 5-6. But like I said, generally this kind of game came to first bloods. Like I said, it was countless times. I think out of the 7 rounds, we saw 6 of those 7 come in from the guys on PT. They're playing very, very solid. We saw Tarzan's kind of impact when it came down to a lot of this game. With the PPSH, they had really good positioning. They were kind of taking over the bomb sites. And overall, it was the guys on DAS who, a lot of the time, were either trying to establish a defensive push or trying to establish an offensive one. And back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the $300 minimum 3v3 search and destroy only, of course, taking place here on January 7th. It's round 1. We've got DAS and PT running in here toward map number 2 for some London docks, as things are getting picked off here very quickly, as that was a perfect description to kind of describe what was a map number 1 defeat for the guys on DAS. They lost that one 6-1, and they've got to be feeling a little bit out of play when it comes down to this series. Of course, only winning 1 round, your confidence has got to be shaken. And the reason why it's shaken is because we've got this man Tarzan dominating in map number 1. Found, I think, at least 4 first bloods out of the 7 rounds of play. And I believe finishes off with at least 2 kills in that round. Yes, so does. Actually does. Finishes off with 2 kills there in that round number 1, along with the first blood, the most important most of the time in search and destroy, at least when it comes to 3v3s. I know it's obviously the last one I always discuss and say it's the most important kill of the map is the last one. But when it comes down to the percentage of what squad will win the map in 3 versus 3s, or the round rather, it's all about those first bloods, man. As currently you see Tarzan making his way toward this B-bomb site. It's going to be bodied right around this corner on the bomb. And this could be great timing. He is going to spot the gun barrel. Good trigger discipline coming in. Shuts down bodied. Now the B-bomb site is totally open. No one going to be there. However, some presence being shown through mid-map. Scoliosis hanging out with the bar. But you got to be keeping in mind, still no B-bomb pressure. There's no one there. Scoliosis from one side, maybe Noobs from the other. As the Scoliosis trying to come up on the top boxes, plays it well. And now Trenzy has the car in his back pocket, but it's the machine pistol who gets the first work done. Player up close and personal, not able to find it though, as Noobs is there for the pickup. And I gotta say, I'm a big fan of how Noobs and Scoliosis played out in that kind of 2 versus 2 retake situation. I like to play where we see that kind of player coming through mid-map, which I believe was Scoliosis on those top boxes. Kind of get some shots tagged into the guy who was planting the bomb down. As that guy goes to challenge, that's the perfect timing to obviously see the teammate come from that back bus side to kind of get that pickup. So kind of a bait and switch, long distance situation that we see kind of come throughout. And already, it's only been 2 rounds, and we've finally seen the guys from DAS put up one. They've chalked one up. First bloods, though, are crucial for this squad, as they had a major lack of that when it came down to map 1, and Scoliosis is just around the corner. The nade comes through, receiving some of that pressure, of course, rocking the armored class. Having one from above and easily shuts him down. Intex falls quick. And Trenzy, the man who's still been rocking the sniper rifle, not sure how he misses that shot onto bodied. But somehow misses the snipe and now finds himself in a 1v3. Able to drop one and can't turn around fast enough. As DAS right now up 2 rounds to 1. And like I said, already in this game, we talk about First Bloods. We talk about the kind of difference that this map provides compared to St. Marie Dumont. I think generally when it comes down to a squad like DAS that we've obviously been able to witness up to this point, is that they do prefer the kind of up-close and personal fights. They're kind of not a team who likes to wait a super long time, but I think they were kind of maybe a little bit over-aggressive, maybe not as patient as they should have been when it comes down to St. Marie Dumont, which obviously can make you pay. As a Trenzy, sniper rifle for the first kill. Skiliosis tossing out the nade, and I'm not sure that Trenzy's aware that they just got into the bomb site. Yes, this is going to be a free kill for Skiliosis, but he doesn't realize the player's on the bomb. Trenzy shuts down the second player. And just like that, Skiliosis ends up falling as the third. And Intex, this is the easiest kill he's going to get all tournament long. Kind of an awkward situation there for Skill because he's coming around the corner. He's thinking, hey, feeling pretty solid. I at least have positioning. I know that one player, Dolphin, dived inside of 10. And maybe he didn't think that he saw the second player, so there probably isn't going to be anyone else. But that's when it comes down to the A site, man. It's difficult to, from a defensive point of view, or even an offensive times, to try and come around those corners. A lot of different positions you could be hiding in, and Skiliosis in this spot. Question being, does Trenzy realize he's there? Smoke obviously doing a lot of work, kind of masking the offensive team. And Noobs gets cut out. Trenzy finding yet again another kill. And Body in the backlines. Kind of surprised that we see the offensive team toss out the smoke and Body's kind of sniping in the backlines. I'm not sure if he was roaming in middle and kind of flanked back or what really the case was. But regardless, Body, Car 98K in hand, tries to go for the quick scope there onto player number 6, which is Intex. Gets the hit marker. That's so unfortunate to have. And yeah, he's going to drop every single time. As, like I said, kind of an interesting round that we see come out, for the most part, in the position of DAS, just because of the fact that, like I said, they toss out the smoke, they try to make their way in toward 10, and obviously it's a smart strategy, but I feel like you're really kind of wasting that third player, kind of wasting that third guy on your team, when he can either be sitting maybe with a bar, or an FG maybe, or an STG, kind of depends on the player's point of view. And, like I said, has the sniper rifle out and can't really do a whole lot, so not sure if he was sitting on like an upward position, if he was sitting on those stairs, which obviously can be helpful, but I don't know. Just generally, I feel like when you already have something to counter the sniper rifle, why do you need a second counter? I feel like the smoke was good enough. But regardless, Bodied taking out Trenzy. Sniper v Sniper. Body's able to win this one as quickly Tarzan finds himself in an awkward spot. 1v2. I believe in every single round that we've seen the boys from PT take, he's gotten the first blood before that. So positive for Tarzan is that he does have the bomb in hand. And debating on what side he defends to choose once the bomb gets planted, if he gets a kind of a 1v1 in his favor, things could quickly turn. And now looking around, trying to make a decision as to what bomb site looks best, kind of getting the overall positioning of the map, realizing certain player positions that aren't currently existent. And I'm curious, where does Tarzan go? Because, of course, he gets the bomb planet. They could be coming from any point of view. Any position is one that is possible. Happens to check one side and has another opportunity at life, as you're going to see Body probably go toward this bottom dock side. And Tarzan not checking the full corner, rather unfortunate position. And props to Body for kind of rounding the entire way around, as they're going to go and give him the streaks just because he's closest. 100 points farther than Noobs is at the moment. But I like to play it from Body in that situation, because at any moment they've got to be aware that, hey, this guy could be hiding in any position. I mean, generally, like I said, any position, once you get the bomb down, it's kind of difficult. Tarzan's position, what does he really do? Where does he go inside of 10? They have a sniper rifle, so they probably know that he didn't kind of back up. He didn't try to go through back barrels. And looks like Body does spot one toward the back lines. Not able to find it officially, but got to be aware of Tarzan's positioning. Getting up close and personal. Him and Intex right in the enemy spawn, and Body in the back lines. He's sitting by himself. And right now the bomb is being planted. Tarzan's there for the first kill. trying to find the second one. Getting tagged in the side is Intex. Now Tarzan trying to revive. Trying to pick up for his fallen comrade as one gets dropped from one side and Noobs gets picked off from the other. In a matter of moments, the round gets decided. And just like that, it's the fourth one. Chalked up here for the guys on PT. As back and forth this game has started, of course, a lot stronger performance from DASD as we kind of have strayed away from the overall discussion as far as how this is currently working out. We got to give props to DASD. They're playing a lot stronger. Granted, out of 7 rounds of play, they've only got the first blood 2 times. As only one of them has actually came from the sniper rifle of Body, not both. It's actually been Skiliosis who found the other. And I like this play from Skiliosis. Quickly going on the flank, as you can kind of see the positioning of the guys on B. Player number 5 is realizing, hey, I'm going to fight at the moment. Most likely no one's going to be watching that way, but Tarzan, the man with the bomb in his hands, playing very carefully, and they're just going to be closing to feeding him streaks. Noobs in the back lines is now getting ready to have shots being tagged in from either point of view. Trenzy gets caught off guard. Can he find the gunfight? A few shaky shots, but they go through regardless. And Tarzan, realizing the position, realizing how close he is to streaks, trying to go for the plant. It does go down. So 50 points away, a kill away from a glide bomb. As he could get great timing. No one is watching the flank. No one is watching their back. And there are streaks for Tarzan. Finding out one. Tries to find the second, but Noobs. A few extra bullets will at least secure the round, but they've got to be aware that Tarzan, at least in their opinion, they're not 100% sure, but they've got to be aware that the streak potential is possible. So heading into this next round, I'm curious, does DASD kind of vend to rock some more mountain classes? I'm pretty sure they've been using more mountain than anything. As actually from the overhead point of view, I can kind of tell. Looks like, yeah, all of them going to be using mountain. Actually, no, except for Skiliosis, actually rocking armored. So he's the only guy who can be seen from above with those streaks. Is Intex quickly going to get stunned? As you're going to see the call-outs, the 2 red arrows going to join alongside of him. They said, hey, the push is probably happening. It's most likely going to occur. And I'm Bodied, the only guy who's not at this current position. As here come the streaks from Tarzan. There goes Noobs. Just like that, he falls. And now Skiliosis and Bodied are left in an awkward spot because Skiliosis doesn't have anyone to join alongside with him. He's literally in a 1 versus 3 and having 3 different players peek at him. And now I'm Bodied. Have to pick up the pieces. But in general, you'd like to see I'm Bodied probably rotate a little bit quicker than that because, granted, he's obviously at the A site. I think they're kind of realizing that streaks are possible, so he's kind of freeing up that site, saying, hey, I can kind of be the first man, kind of be the ambassador when it comes down to that B-bomb site, as he does take out one. Potential 1 versus 3, but not going to go his way. Too many bodies, too many bullets being fired back as Intex. Nice shots there onto I'm Bodied. And good overall positioning there from Intex as well. Of course, realizing once his teammate drops the ideal position to try to hold there. But on not just map point, but series point. For the boys on PT, we'll see what they can try to execute when it comes down to this offensive round, but it looks like a quick rush coming in from Skiliosis. He's done that a few different times, and debating on not whether Intex kind of watched that death cam. Do they think the rush is happening? And based on the position where Trenzy's at, yeah, he's being very wary of the fact that Skiliosis, he's known for this strat. He's known to rush into barrel building. Nice team shots coming in from Trenzy and Tarzan. But Skiliosis lingering inside of mid-statue. He needs to stay up. He can't afford to drop. He needs to find a kill. And you see Trenzy being fully aware that, hey, why is this guy kind of waiting around? Why is he holding this position? It's probably because he's waiting on his teammate. He's waiting for the flank. This is where I'm Bodied can try to do some damage, but no, he ends up dropping, and now Skiliosis left all by himself. His position is known. However, Skiliosis finding the first blood in this round knows exactly where potentially the bomb could be. And now he's thinking, that is there a rotation that's being made? Are they making their way back toward A? But in fact, they're actually right behind him, and he will drop just like that. 6 rounds to 4. Definitely a better showing when it comes down to London Ducks for the guys on DAS. But in the end, it's PT who close out this map as well as this series in a 2-0 finish and advance obviously to round 2 of our 3v3 S&D only tournament for tonight. And like I said, we do wave goodbye to the guys on DASD. They definitely performed better when it came down to London Ducks, and I'm really curious if they would have maybe grabbed a different round when it came down to this game. What really would have been the case for them, for the most part, when you're kind of talking about an Arden Forest or when you're kind of discussing a map like that, because I feel like they would have fared off a lot better. I think that one maybe could have even seen a victory for them if we would have kind of gone all the way down to that particular map. But regardless, it obviously doesn't go their way. And Tarzan and Trenzy, oh, by the way, doubling here at 10 kills, so 20 kills in total for those guys. Like I said, they both dropped 10 bombs along with 6 deaths for Tarzan, 5 deaths for Trenzy. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong column. I saw plants, and I was like, wait a second, that's not deaths, right? Because that's not possible. So in total, 20 and 11? So that's very obviously positive, especially when it comes into a 3v3 search and destroy only tournament. You're going to be imagining if 2 guys drop 10 kills, they're probably winning the game. I think it's fair to say. So with that in mind, like I said, we obviously do congratulate the guys on PT for advancing. Tarzan and Trenzy doing a lot when it came down to the overall work when it comes into the objective, along with the early kills at the beginning.